Hello, and welcome to another video. This video will be about the hero, or perhaps the concept of the hero. The journey, the role, transformation, and the definition of the hero. So, for me, the hero is an archetype, and an archetype, it's something that the concept of an archetype is something that I stumbled upon in my late teens, perhaps as a part of the natural process of experiencing the teen years. You try to figure out what you are, what you can become, and what you should do. So I stumbled upon perhaps the teachings or the research or philosophy of a man called Carl Jung, and through his personality categorizations, I think there are 16 of those personalities, and you can find out in which category you fall into by doing a test. So these tests I did, and I was quite intrigued by what the results told me, because they actually told me something that I found of value. And yeah, so the archetype is the final and the image which our minds converge towards as we try to think of perhaps one extreme. And the hero is a little bit different than the personalities within Jung's tests or analysis, because the hero is something that you can apply on anyone or any kind of archetype in that sense. So the hero, follows another pattern than perhaps the personality archetype. And what is the hero? What makes up the hero? What's the pattern of a hero? What makes us so interested in the hero? It's something, the hero, the story of the hero is something that's remembered because it, leads to something of value. And, to take on the hero's path or journey, I think there are a few key points to figure out, and one of them is there's got to be potential in some way, unexplored potential or undiscovered potential perhaps. There's got to be some weakness involved. There's got to be some perhaps obstacle or personal weakness that has to be dealt with and overcome. The hero has to pass a point of no return, in the sense of becoming the hero, the birth, perhaps. So some kind of situation or event that finally made it happen. The person, the persona, the character, realizes that I am the hero. I can be the hero in this situation, this story perhaps. And to pass that kind of point of no return, or past the birth of the hero, the person has to go through some kind of maturation to come to that realization, because the realization was not there before, even if the context was the same. And there's gotta be conflict of interests, and this conflict can be either internal, in a sense that the conflict of interests could be within the hero, that the hero wants or wanted something that after the realization cannot be wanted in the same way. And it can also be an external conflict, and this conflict is something that resides in the world. It can be a nemesis, an antagonist, some sort. It can be some kind of unexplored territory, and in that sense some kind of darkness. It can be in a fairy tale there's some kind of monster somewhere that's causing a lot of troubles. That's external conflict. Yes, that was a few points to keep in mind perhaps. And I've put a phrase down to try to describe the hero, and I put it at this: in any instance, at any time, we can imagine the character of the hero as a composition of acts towards a greater good that inherently is a struggle in some way. And the struggle can be many different struggles, and I think if you just think about some perhaps good books or movies, you can imagine a few struggles by yourselves. But one struggle could be that you find out or realize or learn what you are dependent upon, or what supports you. And perhaps this was something that was unknown before, or perhaps something that was not thought about. But now it has come to the realization of the character that I am dependent on something, and the next step of the hero would be to make oneself independent. So the struggle would be letting go of what currently supports you. Perhaps it's a comfort in some way. Could be to do or to go somewhere others don't, either, dare or could not find a good reason to. And if we do something that others don't, or if we go somewhere others don't, we're bound to, find out or experience something that is not experienced as of now. And that means we can bring back, either the experience of overcoming and going to where others don't, and just bringing back that experience, we can reflect upon the people around us, the possibility to go where others don't, to do what others don't. Or perhaps we can do this by solving a problem. We go somewhere no one else has gone, and we solve a problem there. And I also think, a good quality of the hero is to, deep down know what is, the right path or action, and never losing grip of that realization. So no matter where your path leads, you can always reach back for that initial truth, perhaps. So, the hero's journey, it has a beginning and it also has an end. And, in some way the hero's journey must end. The hero must die, or, the saga must come to some kind of conclusion. And, going back to Carl Jung and his reasoning, every archetype in some way casts a shadow. If the archetype is, the good qualities, or that which is to be held up in the persona or character, that which defines the archetype, there's always a shadow to that archetype. And the hero, the quality of the hero is to do what's right and to overcome obstacles for some kind of greater good. And that quality is praised, is something to treasure, and it's something that is remembered, but it casts the shadow of the opposite qualities. So the hero is someone going forwards, striving, struggling, always up for the challenge, looking for next adventure, perhaps. It's also the weakness of the hero, because if you can't stop going after, the struggles, the trials, the adventures, that means that you don't know your limits. So the weakness or the shadow that the hero archetype casts is not realizing one's own limit, and inherently it would lead to, taking a challenge you're not able to handle, and out of that comes the death of the hero. And out of the death of the hero, humility is born, because that was what the hero was lacking in, realizing one's limitations. If you have humility, you know your limits. So the hero is something that arises out of context and character, and these variables change. The hero must die in one way or another, and striving to possess the role has to lead to, the striving of becoming another hero, because the hero as a concept that you have right now is, on its way to its death. And I think you can make some comparisons of the hero's journey and the dramaturgical composition, perhaps the dramaturgical model, the kind of model that you follow or perhaps end up in when you want to tell a story. And there was a few books written that was, I think you could say, heavily influenced by Carl Jung's work. And I think Carl Jung's work was heavily influenced by something was written in 1871. It's called The Hero's Journey. And there was 7 points written down in The Hero's Journey by a person named Campbell, and I'm just gonna read those from top to bottom, and perhaps we can make some comparisons to heroes we know. So the first step in the hero's journey is the call to adventure. There's something calling the hero to take part in an adventure of some sort, and in response to this, which would be the next step of the hero's journey, is the hero's refusal to go on that adventure. The next step would be meeting the mentor. So some kind of character that will lead the hero onto his or her adventure. And after that, we come to, perhaps it's called the crossing of the threshold, and this is somewhat a point of no return. And after that, it's the belly of the beast, and I think it was the belly of the whale initially, and I'm sure that comes from some kind of great adventure. But being in the belly of the whale, that's where the hero realizes that I am in, the center of this adventure, and I'm in the center of being able to solve the problem, save the person, find the treasure, slay the monster or whatever. And after that, this realization, there's the next point, which is the road of trials. So within the road of trials, the hero evolves, finds his or her qualities, and is trained, perhaps, in handling struggles. And the next point is the woman as a temptress. And of course, this is coming from way back historically, when the hero most of the times was a man or male. So I would call this point, the worldly pleasures. And this is where the hero has to make the choice, perhaps to neglect earlier needs or wants, and to be able to genuinely want or need the greater good. The next step, atonement with the Father or the Abyss. So, everyone has someone that is a leader figure in some way. And I think, atonement with the Father, it has to do with realizing that you have to step up over this Father in some way, because up to this point the Father has been the individual, the person, the character that possesses perhaps the power over life and death. And now the hero, in some sense, has to step up over that, overcome the Father, perhaps challenge the Father in some stories. And the 10th step is apotheosis, or some kind of realization. I don't recall the definition of apotheosis right now, but I think I'm trying to paint a picture of it. It's not an emotional rebirth, but it's an emotional overcoming of something. And the next step, the 11th step, is the ultimate boon. And this means, perhaps the ultimate fight. This is the reason, in some sense, for the hero to go on the journey or adventure. And after this final battle, perhaps, the 12th step is the refusal to return. So, coming back to the weakness or the shadow of the hero is to not know one's limit, and hence one will always aspire to take on the next challenge, or perhaps not being able to find a fear anymore. And after the refusal of a return, there is a magic flight. And the magic flight happens because someone or something is able to make, the hero to return. The 14th step is rescue from without. So I would say this is, the acting out of, the magic flight. Next step, 15. Return threshold. So this is another point of no return in the hero journey. So after the return, we're crossing another threshold or point of no return in the hero journey, and that is, letting go of the archetype. We're not the hero anymore. The hero is done. And point 16. Can't even see what I've written. Yeah, now I recall. So point 16 is, after the return, the hero in some sense is a master of a new world. A world that was not existing before. So the hero returns as a master of not only the world he's returning to, but an earlier unknown world that is now discovered and explored. So it's a great treasure, to bring back to whatever was the starting point. And the last point of the hero's journey is the freedom to live. So, we're not in the belly of the whale anymore. We don't have the motivation to take on the journey of the hero. We're just free to live, and the hero as a role or character or archetype ceases to exist, at least for now. Yeah, so the concept of the hero is something that resides in the subconscious of I think every human in some sort. And hero or heroes as we call them and know them, often part of some kind of adventure, saga, fairy tale, story or like. But the hero, as I read earlier in this video, in any instance, at any moment, we can imagine the character of the hero as a composition of acts toward a greater good that is inherently a struggle in some way. So, the hero doesn't have to be the one killing a dragon or the one bringing back some great treasure chest. The hero can be anyone at any time, and I think it's important to explore this concept, because most of us, we have a feeling of, in a situation that, oh, this situation I can solve, or perhaps, this situation is a situation that, I know subconsciously that we as a group would like to solve, and we're pretty close, to the moment where someone steps up and becomes the hero. And in this situation, I can step up and be the hero. We all experience these situations every now and then, and sometimes we act out the hero archetype, sometimes we witness others act it out. But I think it's important, because the hero, it's not always apparent that this is something heroic. Perhaps not apparent to the community or the group or humanity. Perhaps not apparent in the individual oneself either. But the hero, strives to act out what is wanted by the surrounding subconscious. And this is something that everyone can do, every now and then. And I think it's important to, also realize that the hero is not something that you are forever. The hero is a role that passes. And it's a role that we can take on. And if we know, the pattern of the role, of the concept or archetype, I think we can draw, inspiration from it. And I think that's why it's so popular, with the hero movies, hero stories. And at least for myself, it was the stories that I enjoyed the most as a child. Daydreaming about solving the problem, stepping up in a situation, and all that. I think you can relate. So, perhaps this video was, I don't know, heroic in some way. Perhaps it was not. All I know is that it's not something that I just sit down and record. It takes some effort, at least. So, what's your journey? Thanks for listening.